afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As you heard, my name is Charlotte. I work for Sasol. I've got some of my colleagues here, and I'll be given strict instructions to say only what's in here. One of the things about leadership is the fact that you are given more instructions than you give. So I'd like to say thank you to my colleagues that are also going to be running some slides for us, just so we can follow each other. One of the things around reputation and risk is about the role business plays in society. A lot of times we get a lot of feedback from different sectors of the economy and different sectors of society about how we operate as corporations. Platforms such as these that Trialogue has put together are important in bringing us together as stakeholders that work in that space, whether we're in private or public sector, or we are individuals in academia, or we are consultants. We come together to share ideas, to shape our work, to sharpen our focus, and to create shared value. And somebody said something quite fundamental. He said, in the space of our work, there is no competition. So we actually are here to work together and make a contribution to what needs to happen in society where we do business. Because business in society has taken an increasingly central role in management over the past few years. It's no longer just about profit, but rather about the value we bring to society beyond the profit motive, and I know that that's well understood. As with your organizations and corporations, from a Sasol perspective, we are known for different things by different stakeholders, but they all assess us from their lens. They all assess us from the value we bring them, from the impact we have on them as different stakeholders. Sasol is a global integrated chemicals and energy company, and it's proudly rooted in South African heritage as we expanded globally, and now we operate in 32 countries. But today I'm going to share with you quite a small slice of what we do. It's focusing on education, and it's focusing on South Africa, and we'd like to root that in a corporation or a business as a catalyst for change. In engineering, some of the people we interact with, we know us for sophisticated and unique engineering capacity because of our ability to commercialize selected technologies at the world scale. Motoring enthusiasts alike will know us for advanced fuels technology and our super clean diesel. In the chemicals industry, we're one of the few producers globally of specialized chemical products that are inputs to various applications, from plastic bottles to paint, to makeup remover, to motor vehicle exhaust. So we can go that broad, and to sapphire crystal and even medical prostheses. So our products are varied, and we have thousands of products that inputs into products that you use daily. Sometimes you are not even aware. Regardless of the different lenses our various stakeholders have on us, our objective is to ensure that each one of our segments of stakeholders get to have a positive association with Sasol, and they look at us as a credible stakeholder. Whenever there's a challenge in society where we do business, they do look to us to play a part in creating solutions and be a catalyst for change. Regardless of those lenses that we see, we want them to have that experience with us. As you heard, there are few people that have seen look, just a piece of useless information. That car is still in the building. It is actually in the office next to mine that belongs to Bernard, my colleague, so he's put that car. You remember the car? That car is still in the building. So we don't know how old is the young gentleman, so we have the young lady that is now on that look ad. So those generations that have actually entered the workspace expect different things from us. We participate, as I said, in education. Right now at Sasol, we have between 900 and 1,000 graduates at different levels of development, all the way to EITs and some masters and PhD students. That is a very different generation. It is, as they increasingly enter the mainstream of our economy and our corporations, the expectations are challenging the status quo. The Morgan Stanley Institute of Sustainable Investing Survey of Investors, published in 2017, found that millennials are twice as likely as the overall investor population to invest in companies with social or environmental strategies. This reinforces our view that we manage our company in a way that creates value. So we have to listen to even the stakeholders internally that come into our corporation, as well as those investors that invest in different ages and different spheres and walk of life from which they come. For us, we want to be known as a catalyst for change. And this is particularly important for us when you consider our role in society, particularly in South Africa. As I stated earlier, our heritage is intertwined with South Africa. We recognize that as a contributor to South Africa's development, stability, and success, our role transcends that of the economy, of just profit. At the heart of Sasol is our ability to transform resources into useful products that make a difference. Our unique technology catalyzes change. This is emulated through our new campaign where you saw earlier that Look campaign or the Look ad, through the turbo fuels to make even a dog run faster, as she does, and the tuk-tuk can perform like a race car. But just on a serious note, coming out of that ad, in the 1950s, Sasol was founded at the back of a need to explore and exploit what we already had. We used technology to change coal into fuel. And that technology remains one of the fundamentals of industrialization of South Africa to this day. So a catalyst for change has been in our DNA as a corporation for a very long time. Another important area where change has been catalyzed is Banyana Banyana. With our partner SAFA, not only has the team performance trajectory skyrocketed in recent years, but for over 10 years, we have enabled the players to pursue their dreams, some of which have gone on to study further, enabled access to broad opportunities here and overseas, skills development, and for them to pursue new careers. The total Banyana Banyana team is 32 people with 17 professionals. Of the 32, 30 of them are either graduates at a master's and at a graduate level, or they're pursuing a qualification. The one that has actually joined DASH, which is a Houston-based team, is actually also associated with Sasol in Houston and Sasol in Lake Charles. So we do work with the Banyana Banyana very closely. We know their personal stories, and we have seen how that sponsorship has catalyzed change, not only in them, but in their communities and the schools where they come from. They're seen as role models. So in everything we do, we always look out to what is the change that this can bring. We recognize that in today's world, being a credible stakeholder partner is about working collaboratively with stakeholders to find solutions to enable economic growth. Throughout our near 7-decade history, we have played an important role in South Africa and broader region in terms of industrialization, growth, and socio-economic development. We do this in all communities. We call them fence line communities, and we also see ourselves as part of the community in which we operate. As much as we create financial value, we create social value too. The process of protecting, creating, growing value is advanced through our relationship with stakeholders. We make it a business imperative to understand and be responsive to the needs that match the Sasol strategy. This is how we make decisions about where do we invest. So every region where we operate, whether it's Lake Charles in Louisiana or even in Qatar or in Mozambique or the community around our Italian operations, we look out and say, what is the national agenda of this country? And what is the national agenda at the provincial or state or even at the local level? And then what is the Sasol intent in those challenges? And what are the challenges of our fence-land communities? Where those intersections work, we prioritize those issues. We operate in Secunda, it's for instance, and Sasolburg, and we found out that in Secunda, it's one of those municipalities that defaulted with Eskom. We got involved. We got involved at local, we got involved at national, we got involved at provincial level because we wanted to be a catalyst for change. We recognize that we have to be a credible stakeholder and we have to continue to build not only financial, but build as a social value as well. We are determined to use the reach of our business to create opportunities where we operate. And I'm not going to repeat the words of Nelson Mandela when he said that education is the most powerful weapon. And we do now need to look at it and look at the issues around education in South Africa. We do not dwell on how many schools are dysfunctional. We do not dwell on how many teachers are not fully skilled. We do not dwell on whether there are adequate sanitation. We dwell on the total infrastructure of education system in the communities where we operate. And then we cooperate with national government. You will see in one of the slides where we have digitized a lot of the products because of access to education that we needed to focus on. So the challenges in South Africa and the challenges in the education system are critical for us, and we see ourselves as an enabler for economic development and making sure that our youth reach their aspirations. The Department of Education in 25-year review of their progress in the basic education sector indicated there's significant improvement in access to education. However, we all know South Africa has a persistent problem faced today of inequality of education system. Education, the quality of learning, and the capacity of teachers, let alone the infrastructure and socio-economic challenges our youth and our children face in schools. For example, let's look at the DBE's analysis of primary and high school completion rate. Primary school completion has increased to about 95% in 2017 from 85% in 2002. This is a significant improvement that we have to applaud. But more worryingly, however, is high school. Here, the completion rate is just over 50% in 2017. Although it's an improvement on 40% in 2002, it shows more need to be done to ensure more school-going learners go through matriculation. There are only 2 specific statistics in the myriad of outcomes, and there's so much complexity around undefined variables that impact learning and teaching. And if you have a teacher in your home or in your social circles, and they tell you about the challenges they go through, you will realize how hard it is to work in the education system. My aunt teaches and is a deputy school principal, and she has access to Sasol books. So off I go happily to go visit her on Saturday, and she said, "It's wonderful that you have written these books. Half of the children in my class in grade, standard 5? 7. In grade 7, I'm of the glug-glug era." She says to me, "Wonderful idea, digitalized, and so on." As the Minister of Education said, it would have cost them 330 rand for the book, but now it costs them 30 rand to put a book in front of a child in a school. But she says because of the type of children that they receive in their schools, they don't even understand those books. So I'm back to Sasol and saying, this is what my aunt said. Okay, she is n equal to 1, but right now is that how far true is this? So as we produce solutions as corporations, we need to understand what impact do they have on the people that use them and the beneficiaries of the product. And that's the way to produce a change. So I'm going to go into the contribution to society that we have done, and I would like to play a little bit of the video. These are the books that I was talking about. These are the books that were pulled together by ourselves, the Department of Education, and the feedback we got from Minister Njumotsega is that she said, all of these developments and the work being done with the Sasol Inzalo Foundation is incredibly exciting and incredibly important for the future of development of our country, specifically in STEM, close quote. These free textbooks are downloadable, and as I said, they cost about 30 rand per child to the Department of Education. We haven't only, as Sasol, reached 6 million South African learners alone. It is now has international readership and international users who span across the United States, India, Nigeria, United Kingdom, and Fiji, to mention a few, and we're standing currently at over 1.3 million users of these books. And when we started the books, we just wanted to solve a South African problem, and then it became a global solution. And because of a global business, it makes sense for us. As we move forward, the Sasol Foundation has been repositioned with an expanded mandate to respond to the current challenges that are facing our STEM education. We're looking now at ECD. We're looking at early childhood development. We're looking at infrastructure in schools. We're looking at teaching and learning, and we're looking at methodologies. And in ECD, we want to understand, what is it that's making a child not be able to get beyond grade 7? What is it that makes a grade 7 child not be able to be reading the books? And what is it that's holding them back? One of the things that we have understood about our graduates is the psychosocial dimension of their learning. And when they go to university, some of these students are actually getting out of their homes for the first time. So we need to actually make the transition from home to school or from high school to university very, very seamless. And then we're also looking at transition from school to work so that they have the confidence to face the world of work. I am going to ask at one point that we share some of the work that you have done, but I'd like to conclude. We have a little bit of a video. We start with the video, we end with the video. Are we getting into digital future? For all of us gathered here today, from business to government to civil society, we are all here to find solutions. We are all here for the same things. We are all here to find ways to be catalysts for change and make sustainable, sustained solutions to education specifically, but socio-economic issues that we face in our country and around the world. We all have our strengths in various areas, and combined, we need to serve as a powerful force to catalyze change in the great nation of South Africa. In closing, I'd like to leave you with just one thought. What is our legacy? Thank you very much for your time. Just in summary, just so I can give a perspective of over the 800 million rand we spend in social impact globally, 90% is spent in Southern Africa. And the education is between 150 to just under 200 million rand. And if you want to do any work in Secunda and Sasol, or you want to do any work in a cadastria or the other parts of Mpumalanga province, Gauteng province and the Free State in education, small business, and youth development, youth in school, youth out of school, we will be your partner. We will work with you. Whether you're government or private sector, we will work with you. Thank you for your time.